Bonjour Heather, how are you doing? So today we are doing a cruise on the River Seine just to cheer us up a little bit. So we're just next to Notre Dame and I come back to the image. So this is where the fire took place. They were supposed to restore the arrow, the spire of Notre Dame that was just here. You can see on the side all the stained glass windows have been removed. Normally right now we should know exactly when the restoration, how long the restoration is going to take. But because of the COVID crisis, they haven't released anything new so far. This is one of my favorite places actually to chill on the river. When you go on this side, just under that bridge, it's one of the best views to me. They are doing some work, but you can see some people are chilling on the side of the river, and we're going to have great views afterwards. On our left, this is the right here. There is the memorial of the deportation at the tip of the island, deportation of the Second World War, and right here you have the St. Louis Island. This is the City Hall towards the end. Just for you to know, this looks like nothing. So you have one of the oldest restaurants in town, La Tour d'Argent. And you have this tiny tower over here. It looks like nothing, but maybe some of you have been to Brazil, right? To Rio de Janeiro, and I've seen the Cristo Redentor, the Corcovado, right? So the man who designed the Corcovado also designed that sculpture here. It's called, see, this is Saint Genevieve, holding Paris in her hands actually, and she's facing out. She's welcoming people towards Paris. And look at these lovely boats over there. I love these are transformed commercial boats into house. The Arabic Culture Institute right here. Over there we have got the tip of St. Louis Island. To access the tip, which is right there, to access the tip you have to go over the fence of a tiny park and that's on the island at the top, and you have to jump over it. But this is so famous for all couples. I dated so many times over here. Don't tell Josephine. On the right side, what have you got? It's called the Open Air Sculpture Museum. I don't know if we can see too many of them, but every night in the summer you can be sure people come to party over here. You can have salsa, valse, tango. It hasn't started yet, it's a bit early. It's just 9:10. People are going to dance just after. Look at that. Wow. So we're going to come back, we're going to turn around, and we're going to see all the sites we haven't seen yet. And also there are some bars that just reopened on the side of the river, so we're going to check that out. So if you stay a few minutes, if you come back in 5 minutes, maybe we'll be able to see everything else. Let's have a look. Have a nice evening.
In Paris, it's only cultural in France, okay? Fully cultural, take a bottle on the street and enjoy the lifestyle. So it's a really good example of how our life starts.
This is how the sunset looks like in Paris. We don't really have a sunset. This is why the Eiffel Tower was so important to us. Look at this, Notre Dame from the back. Isn't that beautiful? Still standing. Wow, look at this beam of light. Just enjoy the view. Actually, as we are going a bit further to the right side, you will be able to say see one of my favorite bar actually that just came opened up like 1 or 2, 3 years ago max, and they transformed one of the old navigation regulation administration building into a massive guinguette, and so it's the place you can hear like accordion being played. This is so French, the little lights of all colors, and of course we love it. They just rebuilt that pier over here. Have a look. This is brand new. This was a highway before that they transformed a few years ago into pedestrian alleyways. So it's so lovely to be here. So much life bursting from everywhere. And what I really like about this one is that you are just next to the Marais. So we're not giving tours right here. It's not. I'm not prepared for this, but just next to this building, you have got the Marais that begins, and so you have the Saint-Paul neighborhood with the church, St. Paul, St. Louis, but also the Quartier Saint-Paul, where some of you actually, at least one of you today, loves to do antiquity shopping, and you can see right now. Look at that! How beautiful that is. Hi John, how are you doing? Right. The next bridge is nicknamed Le Pont des Soupirs. You have so many legends around this one. over here. You see at the end there is a building that looks a bit Gothic. A bit. Good to see you, John. Look over there. Boom. St. Paul, St. Louis in the background. You know that actually this is where Victor Hugo organized the wedding of one of his daughters, Leopoldine. And to thank the priest who organized the wedding, because the wedding was organized at midnight, so there is no people to say, no, I'm against that wedding, because Victor Hugo was a socialist and his daughter wanted to marry to an aristocrat, and the family of the young man was against that wedding, so they organized it at midnight in the church. So to thank the priest, he offered to the church the two shells, you know, where you put the holy water in. And you can still see these shelves that have been bought in a flea market by Victor Hugo himself. So this is the end of the Ile Saint-Louis. Saint Louis Island is one of the most expensive place in Paris. Actually, I see there are questions. It was not going so. So, is it warm here? It's. I would say it's a good 60 Fahrenheit, something like that. I'm not too good with Fahrenheit. It's 18 degrees, so we have a bit of wind. Just behind the trees over here. Maybe we can see it. There is a tiny church. Can you see that one? You see this one? This church is called Saint-Gervais-Saint-Protais, the one under the scaffoldings. And in that church was the only really damage that we suffered from the First World War in terms of bombings over Paris. And the rest of Paris has been saved because of the Eiffel Tower, actually. Oh, do come back to this later. A Space Invader on the wall. Public toilets, that's a miracle here. And they are open, that's why. Well, you have to make a wish when you see public toilets open in Paris. Wow. Normally within like 5-10 years, Notre Dame will be back to what it should be. Up on the right side, the City Hall of Paris. We burned it down 2 times actually, and we built it to the exact same copy 3 times. So built it 3 times the same copy. You have 20 districts in Paris, but this is the 21st City Hall, 1 City Hall per district, 21 mayors for the city. We like to have these this situation where like mayors are gonna fight for the same thing. On the left, one of the oldest hospitals of Paris, and then you have got the Tribunal of Commerce, and then these lovely towers. What are these? This is the Conciergerie that you are looking at right now. You see the square tower that comes up? And I will be closing off normally so you can see the oldest clock of the city. Bye, Kayabe. Kayamja. Look at this. This is a conciergerie. If you ever wondered why a concierge is called a concierge, it's partly because of that building. This was the keepers of the cells that were inside this building. It was the Palace of the Kings for a while, and then it became the Tribunal of Justice with a jail. You can see at the bottom of the tower we have kind of a construction in wood. This is the oldest public clock of the city. Tribunal of Commerce. Over here, on the right side. Right. You have lovely bars of it afterwards, and I'm going to show you my favorite restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants in Paris, as we pass by. Every single one of these towers, 1, 2, 3, I've got a name. The Good Big Tower, the one I'm pointing at right now, Caesar Tower, and Silver Tower. The Good Big Tower has been called like this because we used to torture people in our jails in the medieval times. I mean, up until the French Revolution. I mean, even during Renaissance. And there is, they were like crying, like birds singing. When you see this, isn't that lovely? These buildings have been built in the 17th century, so 1600s. And what about these ones? It's exactly the type of buildings you would have in Paris at the time of people like Cyrano de Bergerac or the Three Musketeers. Paris would look exactly like this everywhere at that moment of history. This is the Pont Neuf, half of it. This is the oldest bridge of Paris, even though it means the new bridge. It has been built by the man on the statue on a horse. That's a bit far away from us right now, but I have two things to show you from this. So first we're going to see these ugly faces right there. We're going to see them again on the other side. Look at that. They're here to avoid bad spirit to come over. The man on a horse is Henry IV, one of my favorite kings of France, if not my favorite king of France. He was born Catholic, then Protestant, Catholic, Protestant, Catholic. What a man. And it was like people tried to murder him 17 times. When you look at the floor over here, can you see the tiny staircase over there? Right here. There is a restaurant door inside which is hidden in the wall. And the building behind it is called La Samaritaine. It's going to be restored soon. It's going to be the best rooftop of Paris. It was closed when I was like 5 or 6 years old, but I still remember the view I got from there. I message you later, Lynn. Look at that. Actually, you see that that place over here, the Weeping Willow. This is where I had my first kiss. Crazy. End of City Island. This is Le Pont des Arts. Look at that. And the French Academy. This is where we decide on the general words. Look at this. This is where all the padlocks used to be. 60 tons, more than 60 tons of padlocks that had to be removed. And then you have got the Louvre. So the Louvre will start here, and then we continue, and again, and forward, and towards the end of the horizon. So it's about half a mile in length. Can you hear the trumpets? Oh, look at this commercial. It says on the left side, retrouver le sourire, which is like, find your smile back, smile again. Brass bands, training. Usually these brass bands are from architecture school, fine art school, but some medicine school have it so now again. And look at the golden color of the Orsay Museum. This is the light, my favorite light of Paris right now. I mean, I've just got a phone right now to shoot, but it's still quite beautiful. So this is the Orsay Museum. And it was built in 1900 for the welfare of 1900. Just for you to know, at the moment of history we had something like 30 to 40 million inhabitants. More than 50 million people came to buy tickets. 52 million people bought tickets to come to that welfare. So like 10 million more people than actual French living in France. So that train station was one of the very first to have electric trains inside, and this is why you can see actually so many nice sculptures when you go inside. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? And this is the train station with which Picasso arrived in Paris, which is kind of interesting. When you stand just behind that clock, you can face Montmartre, and he went to live in Montmartre right after that. Look at that. And now we move. Oops, sorry. Louis is still quite beautiful. And then we have got the Tuileries Garden. So there used to be a palace. When you look at the Louvre, you have got right here there is a tower, and there is the same tower on the other side. That's just for you, John. Look at that. And by the way, I don't know if you know that building. This is called the Palais de la Légion, the Legion of Honor Palace. And this is where we give the Legion of Honors in France, the highest distinction for civil medals. And this is actually, it was a private hotel owned by nobles in France. And this is where Thomas Jefferson was welcomed as one of the ambassadors. And so this is why when you go to Monticello, you have got a replica of that tiny palace. So when you come here, go to the Musée d'Orsay and go to the Palace of the Légion d'Honneur, you can visit it. It's and the Monticello residence is exactly the same copy. Then we have got the Grand Palais, also built for the World Fair of 1900. They decided to keep it. So I don't know if you followed it, we posted this in our story a few days ago, but we're going to invest into a camping car, and so we're going to go all around France during these little lives, because I never have the time to visit France since I became a tour guide. So we're going to travel with Josephine everywhere and do these little short lives in many cities. So this is the next step, and maybe in 20 years I will invest into one of these boats. That would be my, if I have this boat at the end of my life and I live in Paris on one of these boats, I will feel accomplished. Look at this tiny thing over here. You see this one? This is the obelisk. And so this is fun, because they always say this is the oldest monument of Paris, which is kind of true, right? And this is 3,000 years old. Up. This is from the tomb of Luxor, actually from the temple of Luxor, for a temple built by Ramses II. Look at this. This is the National Assembly, Palais Bourbon. And when you look at this bridge is called the Concorde Bridge. This bridge has been made with the stone that actually were taken from the Bastille. And look at that, how much life there is. I would love to be in horizontal, but cannot. And this is like so lively. We're going to get to my favorite bridge in Paris. You've got to the Rosa Bonheur 2. So this is the name of the boat that you have next to the river, just in front of us. The Flow. So Rosa Bonheur on the left, Flow on the right. And so you have got amazing restaurant here. It's really nice for the view. The food is okay. The cocktail pricey, but who cares, right? You drink it once. You don't drink cocktail 10 times a day. And just behind it, you have one of my favorite clubs in Paris. It's called the Faust. Like you know, Dr. Faust, the one who sold his soul to Mephistopheles. Look at this. At the very end, you've got the Invalids and the tomb of Napoleon I. This bridge has been shot so many times in movies. I will try to render justice to it.
You can cross the bridge Seine and go to the large palais. The large palais is the Grand Palais in French.
Oh, that's Tara, actually. Maybe you know that's an expedition that studies the the oceans actually, Tara. We're almost done. We're going to arrive bit by bit towards the headquarters of the Bateau Parisien. We're going to have a last look at the Eiffel Tower. It's not going to sparkle, but for the sparkle I've got a secret for you. I will try to catch the 1 AM. Up. Can you see that little spire over here? This is the American Church of Paris. And you have a cultural center. This is where I learn English, by the way. I had a crappy French accent at the very beginning, but this is a more interesting accent. There it is. Look at that. She's coming up. Normally by the time we arrive she should be red and lit up. On the right side you have got les bateaux mouches. It means the fly boats. This is the very first boats that were doing the cruises on the Seine River in Paris for the World Fairs. And it's called mouche because of one of the neighborhoods in Lyon. When you go to Lyon, when you want to have amazing food, some of the best cooks in France are there. This is you can find where these boats were made. The next bridge is called the Alma Bridge. And on the right side, this is where we're going to see a flame of the Statue of Liberty. Yes. Can you see the little sculpture? So this bridge replaces another one. Alma Bridge. Alma is the name of a battle. And so you had like all the troops that the French used during that battle that they were victorious at, and the last one is called the Zouave. And it's an interesting man coming from the north of Africa, and this man actually gives us indication about the floods in Paris. When we say that he's got the feet wet, we've got a great flood in the city. Look at that. This is not Aladdin. This is actually the new Russian Orthodox Cathedral of. If you look at that bridge, maybe I can do a post about this, because this bridge is really famous, especially during the Cold War, because of the roads that were on both sides of the river going in different directions. This is where, when spy stories were taking place in Paris, this is where it was taking place, where people were exchanged between the east and the west. And now back at the Eiffel Tower. We're almost done. I wish I will see the colors. We're almost arrived. So, I hope you enjoyed the tour. Everything's okay? If you want to see something else, you can just post to us. You can message us on our page, Paris and Beyond Tours on Facebook, and tell us where you want to go, and we'll see what we can do. Is that okay? And so this is a bit laid back, but this is for us to enjoy, and like I mean, we're just real people. You know, we're not just tour guides. So so we can do real tours at some point, and we're going to prepare like proper stories, proper posts. And right now we're working on it. We're learning how to do all of that. But if you have any suggestions, please. If you have any suggestions, just send us messages in our inbox, and we are taking everything right now. We are just reinventing ourselves. This is a really enriching moments for us. Thank you, John. I will try to call him. No, we will pass by Giverny again. We have a video already on our page about Monet, but I was not too happy with it, and we're going to do something proper about Monet. But mostly I would like to go to Marmottan Museum for Monet. You have an amazing collection and the Impression Sunrise as well. So I'm thinking about you, Karen. I think we are good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Heather. And I wish you all a wonderful day. And see you next time. All right. Goodbye, guys, and take care, whatever it means for you. And I wish to see you in Paris as soon as possible. And again, if you have any ideas, things you would like to see, we're going to go on a road trip in France with Josephine and Lena. So we're going to cover as much as we can. So please send us ideas and wishes and desires, and we're going to try to see where we can pass by. So goodbye, guys. A last Eiffel Tower image. And that's it. That's where you should take the pictures when you come on these boats.